Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for June 2022. So on Saturday, June 4th, we have Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over systems, foundations, structures, roles, responsibilities, going retrograde in Aquarius. So recap. We had Saturn move into Aquarius back in 2020. This is largely the main factor of why we've been going through this paradigm shift, this awakening, if you will. The Aquarian energy ruled over by Uranus, the Great Awakener himself, definitely shook things up, definitely showed us what we had built in society, within the collective, within our own individual lives, that wasn't so strong, that wasn't so great, that wasn't in our favor. So a lot of this whole pandemic, this great awakening process, was because of the Saturn energy moving into Aquarius. Things have to get dark before we can see where there needs to be light. Saturn being the Lord of Karma and being in Aquarian energy ruling over the greater, grander collective, we've definitely seen how things got shook up, how we have been shook up in order to wake up. And many of us now still in the process of standing back and watching these systems, these foundations, these structures such as the government and politics and all of these big systems and foundations crumble under the darkness in which they've created. This is essentially the foundation of the revolution, and we will be experiencing that over the next couple of years. We have Saturn in Aquarian energy until 2023. We have Pluto prepared to move into Aquarius in 2024. And you best believe that all of the darkness that many of us have been illuminated to on the greater, grander stage and in our own individual lives will come to a head in order for us to rebuild, redefine, restructure, reorganize a life that actually feels good, in alignment with our highest potential, with our soul's mission, with our soul's purpose. So this will be Saturn's last retrograde in this Aquarian energy. We go retrograde on June 4th at 25 degrees, which is super interesting because if you listen to the June energy intro, we talked about how all of this eclipse energy was around the 25th, 26th degree of Scorpio, of Taurus, which is a fixed sign. We have Leo and Aquarius as fixed signs as well. So Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius around this 25 degree mark is very much continuing the storyline, the karmic chapter, if you will, that began for many of us back in 2020, amplified even more last fall, when the true nodes of the moon, our destiny point, and our past life lessons entered into the Taurus and Scorpio axis, which of course they're both fixed signs, which means that anything happening in Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, or Leo is adding to that story. Watching these systems collapse, watching the not so nice parts be cleared away in order for us to build something better, something more beautiful, something that returns the power back to the people. So this little retrograde that we are in is going to take us into October. Yes, it's about a 4.5 month retrograde. So, yesterday we just had Mercury come out of a retrograde at that 26 degree in Taurus. Now we have Saturn going retrograde at 25 degrees in Aquarius. Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn energy, hovering around that same degree. So this is going to be a reflection and a review of our inner power, our inner authority. We are going to have a little bit of some pressurized life lessons thrown at us because that's what the Lord of Karma does. throw some tough love life lessons at us to see whether or not we've learned the lesson from the past, whether we've grown, whether we're strong enough to really weather the storms that are being thrown at us, and whether or not we are actually done with the old paradigm, the old elements of our lives that many of us been fighting tooth and nail to get away from, to watch collapse in order for our new selves, our higher selves to be anchored in. So typically speaking, these heavy hitting planets, because they're so far away from us, when they go retrograde, it really doesn't kind of rock us the way that the inner planets would do. You know, Mercury, we're just coming out of the retrograde energy now. We have 2 weeks of post shadow period before things are going to get rocking and actually move forward. But that's an inner planet, which means that that affects us greatly. These outer planets, they're kind of more on the greater, grander stage, on the collective. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be affected in your individual life, but it's very subtle. It's very kind of a sneaker type of lesson that creeps up on you. And with all of these heavy hitting planets going retrograde, because we will have Neptune going retrograde and joining that bunch at the end of this month, we are definitely in for a couple of months where we're not going to be able to wear those rose-colored glasses anymore. We're going to have to really, stay in the present moment. We're going to have to recognize where certain situations are coming up for reflection, for review, to give us a redo on that, all these RE words. And we get retested in order for us to get realigned, in order for us to reset our structures, our responsibilities, our career, our business, our long-term goals, aspects, and desires. So we are kind of in for a couple of months of interesting events. And again, most of these events will be a lot clearer to see how these things unfold on the greater, grander stage and the greater, grander scale. This is going to effectively kind of change the narrative that we've been looking to get away from and looking to break free from since 2020. And the Great Awakening process is hitting a brand new level. And this is definitely really going to test those that have awakened within the last 2 years and really kind of show us right in your face the things that we've been hiding from, the ways that we've been running from it, and what it is that we're actually going to do about it. This is about building new systems, foundations, routines, and systems in our lives that will basically set us free. To even go back even a little bit further, prior to Saturn even moving into Aquarius, we had Saturn in its place of power in Capricorn energy where it ruled over. And that's kind of where we were illuminated to where, things weren't working, economy, the whole stock market. We took a look at the corruption in the government. We had to take a look at all the things that were holding us back and restricting us from actually feeling like we had power and sovereignty in our lives. And of course, anytime any planet is moving out of that Capricorn energy and moving into the Aquarian energy is where we fight for independence, where we fight for truth and freedom and liberation and individual sovereignty, and where our individualism, where we need to fight individually, we come together as the collective, as society, in order for us to move forward together. This is essentially the very base foundation on where it is that as a collective, we as the people are going to be taking the power back. Many people would say that, life is crazy right now and it's ugly. There's never been so much evil out in the world. That's simply not true. It's always been there. It's just that the veil has been lifted. Our eyes have been open to it. We've had to be rocked in this way to awaken to the system that was built many, many eons ago that we've been living in, that has kept us trapped, kept us small, kept us in this cycle of energetic slavery. Saturn in Aquarius is here to help free us. But individually, we have to feel the push. We have to feel the squeeze in our own lives, in our own topics and themes, in order for us to do what we need to do in our individual realms, because of course, the energy and the change all starts with you. When we start vibrating individually at a higher vibration and frequency than what it is that we've been living in, that has a ripple effect. That affects every single person that we now interact with. And that is essentially, as this awakening process continues, as this ascension process continues for us to shift into new earth, the higher vibrations and frequencies that are love and unity based instead of hate, fear, and division based, we are going to see collectively how us energy workers are doing what is right for us in our individual realms, and how that has a major impact, a major effect on the greater, grander collective. So we're definitely going to see a huge shift in energy, a huge shift in storylines, a huge shift in the paradigm that we've been actively working to destroy and crumble, to leave behind. And we are going to see the very foundational pieces of the new earth in which we are desiring to create actually come together, actually manifest in our physical realms.